I think we have, well, we've got quite a good turnout here now for this. So to start, I will just welcome everybody, ambassadors, ladies and gentlemen, Monsieur le Minister. It's a pleasure to host you for the first of our TVET Global webinars, and it gives me absolutely huge pleasure that it is in fact on Mauritania, a country that I started to work in about 6 years ago and have fallen in love with ever since. So it's great pleasure to be hosting this at this time with you. Again, our first, as TVET UK, our first involvement with Mauritania was with the Higher Institute of English, and that's where I first met Dr. Sidi. We've kept in touch ever since. I've been involved in various projects in Mauritania since then, both in education and with outside education, particularly around the setup of the Mauritanian British Business Council as well. I guess the purpose of today's session, as well as to hear from Dr. Sidi, who's going to talk about Mauritanian education, is the formation of a new company that we've got now in Mauritania, a joint venture which is going to help bring training into the country and help Mauritanian students easily access the UK. Don't take my word for it though. I'm going to hand over to Dr. Sidi now, if he's ready, and we will hear his views on this, and he'll tell us about Mauritania, its education system, and a bit of background for some of you who may not be as familiar. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everybody. I'm very sorry I don't speak very well English. I'm very delighted to contribute in this video conference about education in Mauritania and opportunity to invest in education. And I'm sure it's not very easy for us to build a strong relationship with UK, because we have traditional French speaking. So the proficiency of English is very weak. So we need, in the first step, first of all, to improve the learning, the teaching of English language in our country. I think it's very necessary. Second, there are a lot of economic opportunity to invest in Mauritania, not only in oil and gas, but also in fishing, in mining, in livestock. So it's a big country, but it's very near UK. So it's open also country to attract, invest in Mauritania. The education system, especially high education system, was intensively developed with cooperation with TVET UK. Matthew Anderson was a pioneer in to help us to the high Institute of English. Now we have maybe 15 British teachers, and we have very interesting cooperation to build this institution. But it's not enough. Really, we need to teach English earlier for our young people, and also to develop the knowledge in our country. We have also a plan to make a digital transformation of our country, a lot of services for citizens, for business, for in this way, we need to develop our global or international connectivity. Now we work to have our second and third submarine cable. The capacity telecom is growing very fastly, and we start to build our first data center, tier 3, very interesting standard of data center, financed by European Bank for investment. And also we finish now our backbone with 1,600 kilometers of backbone of optical fibers. And we launched to 4G generation telecom. And we have a lot of projects to implement platform of e-government, e-education, e-santé, but also to offer numerical education for people, because we need also to increase the capacity of users of our customers, of students. So it's a very big program, I think. The ICT, technology of information communication, but also mining, oil and gas, and also education, English, and also fishing, a lot of opportunity. So we are very glad to understand that with MBBC, the Mauritanian British Business Council, can help this connection and can help all people to connect it, British and Mauritanian actors. My English is not very good to communicate all my ideas about this, but I think we have really transformation in Mauritania. Secondly, I think our country is very stable, politically stable, and very hospitality also. We are welcome for all people. We hope to build a very strong relationship with edUKate, with edUKate, the new company, to UK, and why not to open first stage of education in English in Mauritania, and after private system. I think it's very interesting. So that is all. If you have some question, I'm very sorry.
I'm gonna ask a couple of questions here. You mentioned the data center. You mentioned, do you see an increasing role for e-learning in Mauritania in the future? Will you be using it in the universities?
Sure. Yeah, we developed our universal center for e-learning. Firstly, we have to teach our teachers, make formation specific numerical and e-learning system, because it needs some competence and some qualification. And we work with Virtual University of Tunisia to prepare our teacher to produce MOOC and something like this, and some numerical tools to say. But before that, we have connected University of Nouakchott with direct connection, and now University of Nouakchott is connected to the network of GEA, European network of university. We have 1 gigabyte. Our campus is connected with 1 gigabyte, but it's not sufficient. All students haven't laptop, or students haven't the means to buy iPad or something like this. So we have to help also people to get the terminal or the smartphone or the laptop to be connected. But in other way, we have contract with Pix platform. It's French certificate system online, and we have contract with them. We start this year to certificate maybe 2,000 and 500 people can be certificated directly online. Also, French cooperation help us in the project Formadis, formation à distance, to offer online formation, online training, online education. But we launch one project to connect all institutions by optical fiber, and to all administration, all institution, public institution will be connected to the network backbone to facilitate the flow of information, the quality of connection, the bandwidth of connection. So we have some pre-requirement infrastructure and also governance of learning.
Okay, thank you. And can you just changing subject? We've heard a little bit about the need for English and some of the international links you've got there. But how has COVID-19, how has the pandemic disrupted higher education in Mauritania, or has it not? I know we've had terrible problems here with no international students and no online lessons. Has it affected Mauritania?
Yeah, we have worked in the first phase. All people are afraid, and we have worked to offer some online courses using Google Classroom or Zoom or WhatsApp, but it's not e-learning, numerical learning. It's not platform numerical. Google Classroom is good. So in Polytechnic, we have offered laptop for all students. So we have assured the capacity of all students are connected, and it was well monitored. But in other institutions, it was informal, using some tools like WhatsApp, like email. It's not really a learning system, but we work to connect it all establishments and to offer for all students the tools to be connected in laptop or iPad or smartphone like this. Now we receive this month 1,000 laptop offered by Alesco organization for students, and so we have to improve this system. But really, we need to prepare for some pandemic or some crisis like this to improve some resilience system or some capacity to resist. The pandemic COVID in Mauritania is very weak. Alhamdulillah, we have since 3 weeks, 21 cases per day. We haven't a lot of, I think we have 2,000 cases declared with 400 died. And now all school and university are open. We maintain the curfew. But at midnight, but the situation is well controlled, stable. So we work. We hope to start the vaccination in this next month with COVAX initiative with OMS. So Mauritania will get maybe 1 million doses for vaccine. This project.
That's very good, and of course Britain is a big contributor to COVAX with £500 million, sort of $800 million into COVAX. So hopefully some of those ones that Britain has contributed to will find its way to Mauritania. I think if we wrap up now, Minister, by just asking you're talking now to a lot of British universities, British colleges, language providers. If you had one wish, what could they do to get involved? What would you like them to do to get involved with Mauritania? What would be your one wish? Is it English language or is it something else? Teacher training, maybe?
I think all study all stage is necessary for Mauritania. We need young student, graduate student, and the training, technical training. Really, the cost of this phase will be. I have to organize one meeting with my colleague of mine and energy to have a strategy to help some sectors and to identify our needs in human resources, firstly, mainly first research. But I think all activities is necessary.
Great.
I hope that in the first stage, Matthew, really it will be very, very interesting to open an English center, learning center in Nouakchott. After some level, you can bring your student in UK. You can make some collaboration with university, with the minister to bring for postdoctoral and some things. We have a great need to have high level in English.
That's great.
We have a lot of opportunity for jobs, but we haven't students with high diploma in English.
Yeah. We know there's a lot of opportunity, and that's obviously why we've set up the company there, edUKate. One of the tasks for that, of course, is English training. We obviously we're a little bit stuck at the moment because we can't travel, we can't bring in teachers, we can't do anything. So things are a little bit tough, but certainly our plan going forward is to bring English training to Mauritania, to send people from Mauritania to the UK, and teacher training as well. So these are all objectives for edUKate Mauritania going forward. So hopefully that's good. Can I thank you very much, Minister, for your input there. I know forcing you to do it in English for this audience, but you've risen to the challenge and you've done it perfectly. So we're very grateful to you for your time. I know you're extremely busy at the moment. So thank you very much for your input. I'd now like to ask British Ambassador, Majesty's Ambassador Simon Boyden, to say a few words now, how he sees the opportunity for education.
Thank you very much, Matthew. Thank you, Minister, for that contribution. I think you're far too modest about your command of the English language, and an excellent example to all those students and young people in Mauritania whom we seek to encourage. As Matthew just remarked, I've been here 2 years. I've been here exactly 2 years. In fact, today is the anniversary of my arrival in February 2019. And the following morning, I had the pleasure and privilege of presenting a copy of my letter of credentials to the Minister's colleague, the Minister for Foreign Affairs, who raised two particular areas of interest with me that he wished us to seek to develop and grow. One was English language training and engagement in the educational sector more broadly, and the other was simplifying the process for Mauritanians to acquire visas to come to the UK. I have to say that although we've made limited progress in the second, largely thanks to COVID limitations that have been imposed on us in the last 12 months, it's a real pleasure that today, with the launch of edUKate, we're seeing the first true joint venture in the education sector with a British company in Mauritania. This new venture is a slightly different animal and builds on TVET's experience. They've been active here for some time. And that Higher Institute for English was in fact the first truly British Mauritanian collaboration in the education sector. But it's great to see more direct engagement, and hopefully once travel restrictions, in particular at the UK end, I have to say, are lifted, then hopefully we'll see much more direct face-to-face engagement. But there are huge opportunities. I mean, Mauritania, for those who are unfamiliar with it, is a country about 50 times the size of Wales, but with a population of only about 4.5 million. So fairly dispersed. The capital has a population of perhaps 1.3, 1.4 million, so almost a third of the entire population of the country, and another third are probably in the other main urban centres. But that leaves a third who are quite widely dispersed over an enormous area. Ever since my arrival, it struck me that obviously online provision of education services was critical to ensuring access to educational opportunities for people across the country, but also was a means of broadening exposure to the wealth of opportunities in the education sector online now, in particular from the UK. And this has obviously become even more critical in the last 12 months since we all had to face up to the challenges of COVID. The Minister has highlighted the investment the country's made in its IT infrastructure, and that is clearly critical. Access to electricity, of course, in some of the more isolated areas is also essential, and there's huge opportunities in the renewable energy sector, in wind and solar, to provide that, in particular with off-grid capacity, which will enable even more people to access the kind of opportunities that edUKate is here to promote, both in terms of access to information, course identification and other opportunities. And we're not just talking about universities, of course, we're talking about a range of other higher education institutions, professional and vocational training, and English language training, as well as training trainers and teaching teachers. Indeed, one of our Chevening scholars in the UK this academic year is actually at Roehampton Institute, undertaking a teacher training qualification with a view to involving herself in that sector. And I'm delighted, while mentioning Chevening, our scholarship program, our global scholarship program, that in fact 2 of our Chevening alumni are indeed currently employees of the embassy here in Nouakchott. So we're delighted to be benefiting from the investment and the learning and experience that they gained in their year in the UK undertaking their master's courses. Obviously, TVET's working with its Mauritanian partner through MaurInvest to provide a range of services which you will all be able to take advantage of, and that could be, as Matthew's highlighted, both in Mauritania in future and in the UK. I'll let Matthew perhaps talk more about the specifics, but I mean, in general, as the Minister's highlighted, this is an area of huge opportunity and need. The President, at the time of his election in June, July 2019, identified education as his #1 priority and committed to be spending, by the end of the 5-year mandate, 20% of the national budget in the education sector. So there's huge recognition of the challenges and the needs, but there's also huge appetite. Since my arrival here, I've insisted in almost all my interactions to speak French. Sadly, I'm not an Arabist, but I've insisted on speaking French, much to people's frustration some of the time, because of course they all want to practice their English. And there's huge interest not only in English language teaching, but in the educational offer that the UK has, its diversity and credibility globally. So I'm delighted to be supporting Matthew in this endeavour and his Mauritanian partners, MaurInvest. Delighted to be supporting MBBC in their wider engagement in promoting economic engagement and cooperation between the UK and Mauritania. And delighted that so many of you have joined today, and look forward to working with you as well as you pursue the opportunities to provide these services to Mauritanians in the years to come. So thank you very much, Matthew. Thank you, Minister. And I'll now mute myself and switch off the video so as not to use up that precious bandwidth.
Thanks, Simon. Yes, I know all too well how precious the bandwidth is coming from Mauritania. Yes, but obviously one of the things that you've mentioned there is about the training in country, and we are all, well, we're desperate to get back out to Mauritania to visit, but of course it's forbidden for us at the moment to travel under the current restrictions. But given the last month of weather we've had in the UK, where we've had fairly constant minus temperatures, we would have given anything for some Nouakchott sunshine. But anyway, our next speaker is just arrived in London, newly arrived in London, the new Mauritanian ambassador. So I'm going to ask him to say a few words now. This is His Excellency Sidi Ould Salem. If I could invite you to say a few words now. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much, Matthew. And I would like to thank MBBC. And of course, in London, we are very proud of the work that MBBC is doing. And in particular, what Mr. Anderson and Mr. Nunn, whom I understand is on the call here. So unfortunately, I have been in London for 5 months. And since I arrived, I've been going from lockdown to lockdown. So I haven't really been able to see you in person and to talk to you. The same thing, of course, applies to my counterparts here in the UK. So because of the lockdown, not much has been happening. But indeed, I am hoping that the lockdown will end soon and that I will be able to start my real work so that I could start building stronger relationship between the UK and Mauritania. Before I say the few words that I would like to say, although I've already said a few, I would like to say hello to the Minister. Hello, I haven't been able to get in touch with him since I arrived here, but I did see him before I left, and I did promise that I was going to get in touch so that we could do something in the area of higher education. I'm glad, of course, to hear that his interest and what Mauritania is doing in that regard. I would also like to say hello to His Excellency, Mr. Boyden, whom I haven't seen for some time. So I'm glad to see him again on this call. So this is a good opportunity to see him again. And of course, I understand he's leaving us. I hope I'm not letting out a secret, and I wish him all the best for the future. Now, I would, of course, I congratulate Mr. Anderson for his new business venture, edUKate, and I wish him all the best. And of course, we in Mauritania, the minister has already talked about it, but I would like also to emphasize it more and to say that we are very happy that he is willing to take the risk, because an investment is a risk, and we hope that he will get the rewards later on many times over. And we are very delighted that he's doing this for us, and we wish him all the best. Now, I would like to say a few words about what the embassy in London intends to do. Of course, after the lockdown has been lifted in the area of education. Of course, this is one of our priorities here in the embassy, and we definitely would like to engage our partners here in the UK with regard to the education. And we would like to focus on a few areas that I would like to mention. The first one is education reform. Mauritania, like of course many countries in Africa, but also even developing countries, have this mismatch between the structure of the production sector and the labor market. And there is always this, we have a lot of people who come out of school, all sorts, at all levels of school. But of course, the job market is not ready to take on these people, which means that we have a lot of unemployment. And we believe that part of the solution is reform of the education system. Of course, the whole education system, from primary school to higher education. And I believe this is a problem that is a long-running problem that exists everywhere. And I think that that is an area where we could maybe have some sort of cooperation with our partners here in the UK. So that's one, education reform. The other one is in the area of higher education. When I arrived here, I noticed that there are a lot of Mauritanians, or more and more increasing number of Mauritanians who are actually choosing to go to the United Kingdom for their higher education, graduate or postgraduate. And that's definitely something that we welcome and that we'd like to encourage even more. I mean, the UK is well known. It has well-established universities, and the excellence of university teaching here is, I think, beyond any doubt. So we definitely would like to encourage the Mauritanians to access the United Kingdom education sector at all levels, but in particular postgraduate education. We'd like to encourage that, and we think that that's an area that maybe we could have some sort of cooperation with our partners in the UK government and in the UK education sector, whether it is universities or other institutions of higher education. The third area has to do with research. Of course, research in developing countries, and Mauritania is no exception, is a big problem because, I mean, there has been mass enrollment in our universities at a time of dwindling resources. And therefore, what we have is that there are a lot of people there who are at our universities and other institutions of education, but not much research is coming out. So and of course, the UK here is also well known and has a lot of expertise in that area, and would like to start some sort of cooperation in the area of research. We have seen, or at least I have seen evidence that international cooperation in research does result in much better quality of publication in specialized journals. And also it has resulted in increased capacity, teaching capacity, as well as research capacity. And we definitely would like to benefit from the experience that exists here in the UK higher education, so that our country, Mauritania, could actually benefit from that. So these are basically the three areas that we'd like to focus on once the lockdown is over. And see, of course, I'm looking forward to working with the minister on some of these issues and other issues also that we might identify either with him or with other members of the government. And well, once more, I thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. And I wish to express, of course, our gratitude to Mr. Anderson and to the MBBC, and we wish him all the best in his new venture. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Thanks very much for those words. And obviously, we will work closely with you over on those issues that you've raised in the coming months and years, and the time that you're in London. I'm now going to ask Roger Nunn, who is the Director General of the MBBC, again, and another organisation that I'm also involved in, just to say a few words, because we've been active in Mauritania for 6 years, founded the MBBC about 4 years ago, and it wouldn't have been possible to do this because we meet people through the MBBC that I would never have met in Mauritania just as education. So I could just ask Roger to say a few words about the work of the MBBC and how certainly you've got your watching living proof of how it actually works. So I'll pass over to Roger.
Well, thank you, Matt, and good afternoon to everybody. It's great to see such a good audience for this event. I sort of sense almost that the job of extolling the virtues of the MBBC has been done already for me by our two ambassadors who've given us great support, not only on this call but throughout their respective tenures. The MBBC, as Matt says, has been up and running for about 4 years, and it exists to promote bilateral trade, investment, and other sorts of activity. So naturally, you know, the venture that is being discussed today is one that is fantastic for us. It involves a British company who's a member of the MBBC, deepening its engagement in Mauritania, in partnership with a Mauritanian company who's also a member of the MBBC. So this is as good as it gets for us. The fact that it's also in the sector of education, I think is very significant. With this particular audience, I certainly don't need to extol the virtues of education, but certainly from a business perspective, I think it's self-evident that a skilled and educated workforce is a prerequisite for growth in economic activity, which of course in turn translates into prosperity. So from that perspective, we should not underestimate the significance of this launch of this partnership today. Matt said I should say a few words about the MBBC. So we have a very active events program, virtual of course at the moment, but nevertheless we are finding that they're working pretty well for us. And actually one of the benefits of going virtual is that our Mauritanian members, about a third of our total membership, are much more easily able to join us at virtual events than they are to come to the events that we schedule in the UK. So that's certainly been a benefit of going virtual, and I guess a silver lining to the pandemic cloud. We've got 4 events programmed for this quarter, of which this is the second. The next one, we're very fortunate to have another MBBC member, a founder member in fact, BP, who are going to talk to us about their West African strategy in general, and also then the specifics of their giant gas project, the Greater Tortue Armeim gas project. We've got the new Senior Vice President for Mauritania and Senegal, Emil Ismailov, who's an old friend of mine actually from Azerbaijan. He's going to be talking to us. That is the 3rd of March at 12 noon GMT for those of you that would like to join. It's a 2-part event. Emil will give a general update on BP's Africa strategy and then the project. And then there'll be a second part, which is exclusive to MBBC members only, where they can have a one-on-one conversation with a senior BP manager to understand the specific opportunities that may be available for them with BP in Mauritania. So we've got that coming up, and then at the end of March we are hoping to have a session with the new Minister of Mines, Petroleum and Energy. We need to land the date for that, and of course we'll put out a notice when we do. But in the meantime, I'm sort of sitting back and listening to this with a degree of satisfaction that here is the MBBC doing exactly what it set out to do, making the connections between companies and organisations that it set out to do, and the result of that in this particular occasion is a very significant new Anglo-Mauritanian partnership for Mauritania. So delighted. My congratulations to Matt and to all of those involved on the MaurInvest side as well. Thank you, Matt.
Thanks, Roger. Yep. So you can, if you're interested in MBBC, it's MauritanianBritish.com is the website. So have a look on there, or join our mailing list, and we'll be happy to tell you more about MBBC events. Now, we've heard about this edUKate Mauritania. Now we've heard about there are, however, 2 sides to this, and it's not just TVET UK in the UK behind this. There's also a Mauritanian partner, and if he's able to unmute himself now, I'd just like to invite Mohamed Abdullah Yaha to say a few words. He's Chief Exec of Maurilog, a company that many of you will know, but of course MaurInvest, his other company, is the partner for this project. So Mohamed, hear from you. Thank you, Matthew. I'm very delighted and happy to be part of this venture. First of all, I want to greet His Excellency the Minister, our ambassador in UK and UK ambassador in Mauritania, and to thank them for their support. I have been discussing this project for many years with Matthew and TVET. I'm very happy that now we reached the start, and it is a good start. If we see the support we are having with the minister, with the ambassador, with the government, I think it will be a very good of benefits for Mauritanian young students, and not only students, young workers. In my companies,
we are facing a lot of challenges with our employees who don't speak English, and English now is very useful with international company coming in Mauritania. It happens we sent some of them to UK. Now we have one in UK, and we had a few in Ghana, in Gambia. I'm sure a lot of people are looking for such opportunity. Not only for employees, but also to go to UK for universities. Myself, I have 2 of my kids who are in UK. Then I don't want to be very long. I'm very happy. I want to thank MBBC for the support. I'm fully committed, myself and my companies, to make it successful, and we rely on all of you for your support. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mohammed. It's great to hear from you. So I guess talking a little bit more about edUKate, we've set this up and we have physical premises. We will have a teaching centre. We will, obviously it's difficult at the moment. We're using TVET Global's e-learning platform as well to run some courses. But I think the important thing to get over here is that actually TVET UK is a body that uses other people's skills. So we don't actually do anything. We, as TVET UK, we work with universities, we work with colleges, training providers, equipment suppliers, architects, certification agencies, finance bodies around the world to pull together everything that's needed to deliver a project. So I guess those of you on the call now listening to this thinking, oh, what's the body? edUKate's going to do everything. Well, it's not. We are relying on our British partners to do this. So I can see a few familiar faces on the call now who, you know, your work is tailor-made for what we're trying to do in Mauritania. We've talked about effectively study abroad and corporate training or English language training in Mauritania, whether face-to-face or e-learning at the moment. But we have some quite you know, sort of huge plans for this once we get set up, established, and go forward. And we're talking about some quite serious infrastructure in Mauritania if that works out. We've heard from Dr. Sidi Salem today, the Minister of Higher Education, but of course we're also in touch with the Minister of National Education as well, and the Minister of Skills, Employability, Youth. These are all vital contacts, and we have we're on sort of WhatsApp terms with these ministers now, so we know what they need, we know what they're interested in, and we're trying to provide that using British expertise where possible. So I guess now, just to really conclude the webinar and what it's about, I'm going to invite one of those British suppliers of services, should we say, to say a few words now. Munir Mamuji of M2R Education. We have just signed our first MOU, virtually of course, although we hope to celebrate in person at some point. Munir is our first partner in country now, and we're going to work with him on a range of different things. And if he is there, I am. Unmute. You are. Excellent, excellent. Do you want to just say a few words about what you do and you know, as our first partner?
No problems at all. Well, good afternoon, everybody from the north of England. We are absolutely delighted to work with edUKate and continue the good work that we started with TVET UK. We provide education services across the globe, and we've already participated on projects in Mauritania before, including the delivery of English language teachers to the Higher Institute of English, and also the supply of online private tutors and digital English language services. We look forward to working with Matthew and also edUKate for the foreseeable future. And again, you know, thank you for the opportunity.
Great, thanks very much for that. That remarkably brings us to the end of proceedings, just within the time that we have available. The virtue that you are here, you will know how to get in touch with me or one of the TVET team, otherwise you wouldn't be on this. If you have any questions or you want any more, you want to get involved with this or talk to us about it, then please feel free to do that. On that note, then I would like to thank the Minister, Monsieur le Minister. Thank you very much for your time. Your Excellency, the Ambassador from the UK and from Mauritania. Thank you for your time as well. Roger, thanks from MBBC, and of course Mohammed, our new partner in Mauritania, and Munir, our other new partner in Mauritania, but from this side. So thank you ever so much for attending, and thanks for your time. I know you're all busy people, and we hope to hear from you soon. Thank you very much.